Hello, we are Group One and we're presenting about Chinese culture. Today we're going to talk about topics such as collectivism and how family, phila, PT, and how different relationships fall under the idea of collectivism. We're also going to talk about other topics such as gender roles, communication patterns, religion, other cultural values, entertainment, and the COVID-19 pandemic to explain how they affect communication in Chinese culture. Andrew will start us off with the topic of collectivism.
China is a very collectivistic culture that is enriched with tradition. Collectivism prioritizes unity and solidarity. People who have a collectivistic worldview will consider long-term relationships and harmony as vital to pursuing group goals. In our textbook, Exploring Intercultural Communication, Growth 2020 describes that collectivistic cultures are one that, quote, place the needs and interests of that group above individual desires or motivations, end quote. According to Hofstede Insights 2017 page called What About China, they indicated that China scored 20 points on the individualism scale, meaning it is a very collectivistic culture. In Chinese culture, collectivism is shown in many ways. For example, two that we found that were very interesting are through meals and how people refer to their country in 2016. Wang's article, Collectivistic Culture, Key to Understanding China, mentions how people will use plural possessiveness to communicate. The Chinese will refer to China as our country rather than using my country. Furthermore, they refer to the country as Guazha. Gua translates to state, while Jia refers to home or family. Even the way people shows their collectivistic nature, Wang 2016 describes that Chinese families will eat dinner with one another and share everything from the table. At Chinese restaurants, you can see that it is mostly served family style. People will pick up foods from the same platter, whereas in America, plates are served individually. You can see the difference in the passing styles in the photos to the right. These two examples show how Chinese culture is rooted in collectivism and how it influences even the smallest aspects of their lives when talking about personal identities. It is seen as a shared aspect with others in the group. When enjoying meals, people also share them. This is different from American culture where people have individualistic mindsets and prioritize themselves compared to the American way of life. The Chinese collectivism mindsets embodies the idea of sacrifice, loyalty, and support. With that being said, Chinese culture also expects people to abandon their personal independence for the good of others. We can see that when we examine the most important cultural value, which is filial piety. Amy will cover this topic in the next slide.
In one article called Filial Piety, an Important Chinese Cultural Value by Mack in 2019, he says that the term was popularized by Confucius in his book called Shaojing. Filial piety essentially means respecting your elders and is used to remind people of the moral obligations to their families. Children are said to display this teaching when they show obedience, take care of their families when they age, and even provide materialistic things for them, like money, food, or expensive gifts. Chinese parents view their children kind of like an investment, and because parents provide food, shelter, life, and support children throughout their education. In return, they expect their children to acknowledge their good deeds by showing filial piety. You can see other ways that this culture is collectivistic compared to Western countries. Though we're not able to find a date published, Betts mentions in her article, Chinese Family Values, that a lot of Chinese families will live in multi-generational households, whereas in Western countries, you don't really see that often. Grandparents living with their children and grandchildren are seen as the norm. Further, when elders pass away, shrines are put up in their honor. On these shrines, food offerings, incense candles, pictures, and the elders' favorite items are displayed with their shrines. Mack also explained that the character for the word illustrates the meaning of the word. Filial piety is represented by the character shao. When you break the two characters that make up this word, it forms the characters lao and erzi. Lao essentially means old, while erzi means son or child. On the slide here, you can see that the lao character sits on top of the son character, showing how children will support their parents in old age. Omar will now talk about collectivism and how it affects romantic and business relationships.